Merry Bookmas! Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Hillary and today we're going to be doing a Bookmas vlog. And I saw this on Instagram. One of my friends at Logger Lipstick Literature posted some holiday romances featuring trans characters. And so I picked this up from the library and I also got the audiobook from the library. So I've just been listening to it today while I'm doing some chores around the house. I have actually a lot that I need to get done today before I go back to work tomorrow. So yeah, we're just gonna be enjoying this book. Thanks for being here. Okay, I'm gonna check in. I've gotten to chapter 8 in this book. This is so cute. I'm really enjoying this so far. So we've got Eli is one of our main characters, and in the beginning of the book he's going back to his hometown for the holidays. So he's back in Florida after 20 years of being away. He's currently living in New York, and Eli is a trans man. So pretty quickly into this book we're experiencing some of the challenging dynamics in the state of Florida. This is very much set in especially Florida's current political climate, and gets to his parents' house and his uncle is there, and his uncle says, oh, the prodigal whatever has returned. They won't even call him a son. Yeah, definitely some turbulent things happening at his parents' house. It does seem like his parents are pretty supportive, but the uncle is not a great ally. His family runs out of alcohol, so they send him to the store to do an alcohol run, and when he's there he runs into his childhood best friend slash first boyfriend, Nick. So Nick doesn't immediately recognize Eli. I don't know if Nick knew that Eli had transitioned and just kind of tells him who he is and what his name is now and things like that, and Nick handles it pretty well. And in fact tells him where he works and invites him to come visit him sometime. So Eli's family goes to the restaurant where Nick works for dinner one night, and Nick is there with his daughter. So we find out that he is a hot single daddy, and Eli is impressed by this and does kind of mention, you know, how good Nick looks. So he's definitely acknowledging that he's looking good. They have some good conversation. Eli gets along well with the daughter, and they decide to go kayaking with the daughter a different day. So they go on this kayak trip, and they're kind of reminiscing about a camp they went to when they were kids, and Eli says something about how they ended up being split up into groups of boys and girls to stay out of trouble. And the daughter looks confused and says, "What do you mean? You're both boys." And Eli looks at Nick and is kind of like, do you want to take this one? Or, he's like, I don't know how to respond to this. And I thought Nick's response was so great. "When we were younger, people thought Eli was a girl. When he got older, he realized he's actually a boy. We call that being transgender. It's a medical condition, like grandma's diabetes. Some transgender people need medicine to manage it, just like Grammy does. Make sense?" And the daughter says, "Can I have a fruit snack?" So the daughter is, totally fine with it. And then the daughter says, "Will any of my friends be transgender when they get older?" And he says, "They could. It's pretty rare, but it happens. If it does, your mom and I will help you learn any new names they pick out." Eli is kind of blown away by this interaction and seeing how Nick handled it. Were there seriously parents like Nick out in the world telling their kids that being trans was fine? That was so bizarre. Not that he expected Nick to be a jerk about it, but he also hadn't expected him to be absolutely perfect. He'd just explain things calmly in a way Zoe would understand. Eli couldn't help but think of his own coming out 5 years ago when he'd taken his parents to Central Park, sat them down on a bench near the band shell, and told them he was going to start going by Eli, that he'd been taking tea for months. His mom had sat in stunned silence. His dad had picked up his hand and said, "We'll love you no matter what." Perfect, 10 out of 10, no notes. Really should have stopped there. But then Wendell Ward had cleared his throat and added, "After all, you'll always be our daughter." So yeah, his coming out to his parents didn't go well, and this next line actually really made me laugh. He said, "Fumbled it right on the 10-yard line. Eli's therapist had lived off that moment for about a year and a half, all told." Yeah, so this is great. I'm really loving it. They're just starting to hang out again and get to know each other as adults. Like I said, he's been gone for 20 years, so they've done quite a bit of growing up since they were last around each other. I just wanted to pop in and give a little update. This is still really cute. I am on chapter 18, so I would say we're about 60 to 70% of the way through the book. So far it's been very sweet, very heartwarming. He's been spending a lot of time with Nick, who was his childhood friend slash first boyfriend. And Nick is starting to maybe have some feelings for Eli, and then is questioning what that means for his identity and his sexual orientation, and having those kinds of conversations with his ex-wife and doing some research on his own to try to figure out what that means for him. I'm not gonna give too much detail or do too many spoilers here, so I'll just say that this has been very heartwarming. Like, each of them have people in their corners who are very supportive, while there are also other things happening that are maybe a little bit more difficult or more of a challenge, and they're learning how to navigate that and support each other through it. So I should also mention that there's some demisexual representation, and so Nick is wondering if he might be demisexual because he's only been attracted to people that he knows very well, that he has deep relationships with. And so I love that. I love that we're exploring what demisexual can mean for some people. There's been a couple of times where he's been like, I feel like I should be panicking right now, but I'm not. So yeah, I'm loving that exploration and representation. Also, if you can tell, I decorated my room a little bit. So we've got this cute garland, a little ornament, and some ornaments up here, and my festive as fuck banner, making spirits bright candle. Yeah, like, we're just having some fun in here. I love colorful Christmas. I'm not by any means traditional when it comes to much of anything, but especially not Christmas decorations. So, and we also did so much laundry. I had just gotten a bunch of stuff out of my storage unit that had been in there for a long time, so I had to wash all of that, and kind of going through, figuring out what I'm going to keep, what I'm going to donate, all of that. I'm going to see how much of that book I can finish tonight. Hi, okay, I was able to finish Second Chances in Newport Stephen, and just wanted to pop in and give you some final thoughts. I really enjoyed the book. I loved the representation of the trans main character and then questioning other character. I thought it was great to kind of see that journey for Nick, and, you know, him figuring out what does it mean if I'm still in love with Eli. I thought it was a very cute, don't mind Roscoe eating my hair. I thought it was a very cute holiday romance, and, you know, a lot of the holiday romances are about straight white couples, and so anything that's a little bit outside of that, I'm definitely gonna try to seek out. The questioning storyline actually resonated with me a lot. I think that a lot of people's journeys can be they could be a little less obvious. That, you know, a lot of people aren't immediately sure what they are, and I actually don't think it's that uncommon for people in their 30s and 40s to be thinking about that kind of thing and trying to figure out what it is that they prefer. Does it have to be a certain label, or is it really just about the person? And, you know, you fall for that person regardless of who or what they are. It had a lot of the typical holiday romance storyline type things, but was also very unique and very timely. All right, that's going to be it for this vlog. Thank you so much for joining me for another Bookmas vlog. I'm going to keep putting these out as much as I can, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. Thanks so much for being here. See you next time. Bye.